Well, good morning. I'm not going to wait till 4:44 this morning. Uh, Been awake for about an hour, and I decided a little bit after 3 o'clock to go ahead and do the 3:30 video. And the title that I've selected this morning is In Support of the Truth. As I ponder the situation we find ourselves in on planet Earth, the huge question arises: who or what is in support of the truth? It is obvious to those perceiving the world from a place of love and unity consciousness that the matrix is anything but truthful. Everything is based on lies and deception, which is why there is so much violence. Like many, I thought that by now the stress of being on this planet would have lessened, and we would be noticeably rising in love and truth. Yet this is not what we observe. It's still a very intense drama being played out for the redemption of the human race. My question looms large in my conscious mind. Indeed it does. For a long time, I was bolstered by channeled messages. Messages of great hope and great promise. And of course, believing as I have since youth that God is in control of the world, and that God is good, and that God is love. I had great expectations that my choice to be here on this planet, which I didn't, as a younger man, recognize as having been a choice, but I do now, that my choice was not an error, that I really could make a difference on planet Earth, that I really could stand for truth and love and justice with mercy and all of the benevolent attributes we give to God and to those that we consider righteous. But the world is obviously and has obviously been in the lap of the unrighteous, controlled by those who circumvent the law themselves and yet enforce the same law on others. The law, generally speaking, yes, there are unjust laws, but the foundation of law itself is good, which is why I've been ennobled time and time again to stand up for the truth in courts and in the world at large, even in religions and stuff like that, to say the truth. Somebody asked a question on one of my videos that I just received this morning since I wrote that blurb. When I said something about the Bible, and says, "What part of the Bible are you talking about?" And I said, well, we can start with the Old Testament that depicts God advocating murder without mercy, without pity. And I stand time and again against the rudiments in our culture that simply do not have integrity. They lack the cohesiveness of being held together with something that is tangibly good and tangibly righteous, tangibly. There's a particular word that I'm looking for that escapes me at the moment. It's not integrity, but it's like integrable, but that's not the word either. But in any case, something is wrong with the matrix. And it's all well and good to say, well, Ron, it's just an illusion. I mean, we can write it off as, well, it's just an illusion. But it's an illusion that human being after human being has had to deal with lifetime after lifetime, and we're still dealing with the same BS. Pardon my French, which isn't French and isn't even the word. But we deal with this crap in our culture where free will has gone awry, and we've used free will to create a world that is totally lacking balance, totally lacking sustainability, that will ultimately self-destruct the very planet upon which we live if changes are not made. That's inevitable to me. And making a difference, to me, is not about, well, I came here and I realized the massiveness of the problem, and I made better choices. I made choices to be more loving, to be more generous, to be more hopeful, to be more righteous in my dealings with other people. I've made proper choices. I've released a lot of bad karma, at least I think I have. I've done it right this time, so I've fought a good fight, and henceforth is laid up for me in another world something good. That's not why I came here. I'm sorry. That's not why I came here. I came here to fix the world, to make the world a better place, to make the world a happy place, to make the world a place where people can actually achieve peace on earth, can actually achieve justice, which is based on truth, telling the plain truth. This is what I experienced. This is what happened. This is what I felt. And here's how I've documented it when you start dealing with legal issues. I've documented it. Okay? It's in the record. It's the truth. I've offered it as my point of view, giving people a chance to rebut my point of view. And they didn't rebut it, which in law stands as truth. Plain as simple as the nose on my face. It's obvious, which is why I have been so emboldened and so encouraged to be willing to stand up against a system that operates not in truth, and expect actually to find people that would be open-minded enough to recognize the truth when it was put in their face and say, yeah, that's true, that's right. But I have found in dealing with the courts and the bank and some of the attorneys, I have found that they don't pay attention to the truth. Truth doesn't matter. All that matters is the lie and the greed and the desire to control and to threaten with force and coercion to threaten others. Now, there was criticism after yesterday's video that if I had done it right, it wouldn't still be going on. What an ignorant comment. And someone else pointed it out. That's like Job's friend saying, you sinned, you sinned, you sinned. Indeed. How do you get it right in a world that is based on wrong? How do we get it right? This is the challenge. This is the challenge that faced me this morning as I meditated. And actually, I went to bed with the same question as I listened to Dolores, what was her name? Dolores Cannon's video prior to going to bed last night. And she talked about the world that we live in, how everything has been inverted and turned inside out and upside down. Indeed, it has. But how do we fix it? How do we get it right side up? How do we make it so that it works for people? Everybody, not just some people, not just the rich that have the money, as Steve Moyer points out. They have the money and they don't care what happens to anybody else because they've got the money, which is the controlling thing on our planet. those that amass the wealth by the governments, by the corporations, by people. And we're all nothing but pawns being bought and sold on a commodity market that's not listed as commodities, yet it's the most precious commodity of all. It's the commodity of human life. But is human life a commodity? I would rather not think so. But that's how it is on the Matrix. That's how it is on planet Earth. Who is in support of truth? Mike Quincy says Seleucia has told him that in time his messages would be unnecessary as events will have taken over. So he's only going to publish a message once a week. I actually stopped a couple of weeks ago even putting up the channeled messages. I still pay attention to them, yes I do, because they still inspire me. But where's the evidence? Where's the evidence that anything really happened on December 21st? Where's the evidence of it in the physical world? Why are we still dealing with the same old crap that we've had to deal with for years in hoping that finally the prophecies would be manifested. Finally they would come true. But we still have to deal with the same crap, the same injustice, the same unmercifulness. Now, when I went into the court the other day and spent a little over 2 hours in the courtroom, not in the courtroom, in the lobby of the clerk of court's office in the federal building, the energy in the federal court is so much nicer and so feels so much better, and the people seem to be so much more friendly, at least in my experience, than in the local courts, in the Brevard County courts that I've had to deal with over the past number of years. And I even commented that is everybody that works here as nice as you? To the lady named Molly who was my clerk, who ran my case through the system and microfilmed it or did it all, scanned it into the electronic system. And she said, well, most of us are pretty nice, but she couldn't swear that all of the people that worked there were nice. And of course, that stands to reason, absolutely. And there are nice people, don't get me wrong, in the local courts too, but the local courts are like a madhouse. And it was so laid back. The energy is so laid back. Even when I went into the federal bankruptcy court in July, the energy is just so much more laid back than it is in the local courts. For whatever reason, that's my perception. And I know, listen to me, I know there are good people in all of the court systems. There are good attorneys that really want to stand in support of truth. There are judges that honestly try to support the truth. Otherwise there would be no decisions being made that support the people. Everything would support the system of corruption caused by the banking system owning so much of the entities, the agencies that are supposed to support the people and the general public, when in fact all they really support is the criminals that run the banking conglomerates. The cabal, if you will, the financial cabal. That's where the evil of the world comes from, right there. But it also comes from the human heart in our failure to read the handwriting on the wall, the failure to educate ourselves, the failure to seek the truth and to seek righteousness and to seek justice. I'm still, for the most part, I'm still hopeful that I can find justice on this planet. But I'm willing, if necessary, to just say, okay, well, I failed another lifetime and get the hell out of here. Because I'm weary. I'm feeling very weary of having to fight when I don't want to fight. I want to live in peace. But I don't want to live in peace making a compromise with the world to be a slave. That's not peace. I'm sorry. I don't want to be a slave of the matrix. And I don't think most people that listen to me regularly want to either. I want there to be real, visible change. I want the illusion, if you will, to change to a reality that makes sense. A reality where truth is supported, where justice reigns, where peace has a chance, where we can love each other and allow each other to experience whatever we need to experience, so long as there is justice. And when one person crosses another person's boundary without permission, that they are challenged and that there's a price to pay for that violation. Everything in truth. Who is in support of truth? I asked God that question as I prayed, Father, Mother, God. Who is in support of the truth here on this planet? Who is in support of it? I hope God is. I hope the angels are, the extraterrestrials. I hope the kingdom of heaven is truly here in greater numbers to swing this earth from a planet of prisoners to a planet of free men and women who learn to love one another and to cooperate together to build a world that is sustainable and works for everyone. I leave you with these thoughts this morning, and once again, thank you for listening. Namaste.